is one of the biggest social media apps actually failing. They have massive amounts of users, but they don't actually make money. And that would be Snapchat. We can look at their stock real quick. There's a video that we're going to watch seeing, the silent death of Snapchat. But their stock here is not great, right? They had the pandemic massive spike and then massive fall off to $8 where they're at right now. Fun fact too, I actually bought Snapchat's IPO when they IPO'd. It was $24, and I think I sold somewhere a few months later at like $14, $15. So lost money. Snapchat screwed me. They're even lower now, so I mean, I guess if you could have timed it perfectly and held it to the pandemic, would have been great. But Snapchat overall actually screwed me. But this is the video. Let's see what it looks like for Snapchat, the silent death of Snapchat. 850 million users, $0 in profits.
Snapchat has over 450 million daily active users, yet has only had 2 profitable quarters in their entire lifespan. Tens of billions in revenue, but 0 profits. Not only that, they've had annual consistent growth in revenue, yet a share price that has gone downwards then sideways. This is especially surprising given their scale, as Meta just profited $20 billion within a single quarter. So how did Snapchat become one of the biggest social media giants, yet still not able to make any money? Looking back, it's easy to see why Snapchat exploded. When it first launched in 2011, the social media landscape was very different. Apps were moving towards perfected, curated, and almost professional photos and posts instead of authentic glimpses of people's lives. But founders Bobby Murphy and Evan Spiegel saw a gap in the market. With most photo apps on the market advertising ways to make photos prettier or more stylized.
So Snapchat, it did actually change the game, right? So well, maybe not completely change the game, but they added features. They became such a massive deal that everybody copied them. Stories, when they launched them, massive. It was super success. That's what really got Snapchat adopted and everyone hopped on. And then what happens is the big tech companies copied you. Instagram added stories. Now everyone just kind of does Instagram stories and doesn't really even pay attention to Snapchat now. But everybody had stories. YouTube had stories. Twitch had stories. Twitter had stories at one point. Those apps, they didn't stick around there because they didn't really make sense to have them. But Instagram made enough sense that to completely copy Snapchat. And then once they did that, Instagram already has the massive user base. People already are on. They have the network effect. So Snapchat kind of teetered off a little bit. It's still massive, but it could have been, the app that everyone uses every single day if they were the only ones that had stories.
Snapchat stock has gone sideways since they went public. Despite their revenue climbing year after year, their profits have done anything but. In the fourth quarter of 2021, Snap reported their first profits ever, and their stock price quickly surged 60%. CEO and founder Evan said, 2021 was an exciting year for Snap, and we made significant progress growing our business and serving our global community. Everything seemed to be going great, but then things went right back to normal, unprofitable quarter after quarter. The demographics aren't in their favor either. According to Snapchat, they reached 90% of 13 to 24-year-olds in 25 countries. But what really matters is how long they use the app. Snapchat ranks near the very bottom in terms of monthly user engagement.
And this, you can't even see this right here, but you flip it, Snapchat down here, lower than Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Kind of surprised, maybe not surprised Twitter's number 2 up here. But Snapchat, I'm going to try to take a guess here that they just can't figure out how to monetize. Because even thinking about it, how does Snapchat monetize? They have like Snapchat Plus now. So there's no reason to buy it. I don't even know what it does. But I know it costs a few dollars a month. It's not a ton of money, but there's no real reason to buy it. It's kind of like Twitter Blue or Twitter, whatever they call it, buying the check mark on Twitter now. Like maybe it's cool, maybe you want the check mark, but ultimately it doesn't really matter if you don't have it. But on Twitter, at least you can serve ads through the timeline. on Snapchat, how do you serve ads, right? If people just use it to send snaps back and forth or message on there or look at people's stories, there's really no room to put an ad in any of that experience. I think that's why they want to push people to, I think they call it like Spotlight or something. It's like their version of TikTok because that's where they can serve ads. But I don't think that's a big thing. I don't really think too many people use that. But I'm gonna guess that that is their problem, trying to serve people ads to make money. It just is impossible. There's nowhere to put the ads.
Behind Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and very far behind TikTok. Their time spent is also poor at about 3 hours and 20 minutes per month per user. Instagram was at 16 hours, YouTube was at 27 hours, and the TikTok was at 34 hours or over 10 times more.
Messed up.
Their brand perception
Supposed to be
is
34,
also
it's
struggling.
16.
While it used to be the preferred app for teenagers, it has slowly dropped down that list. Currently, Instagram is the most used app by teenagers, and TikTok is consistently ranked as the favorite. In 2023, 28% of
fell off
teenagers ranked
hard.
Snapchat as their favorite app, but in 2024, that number fell to 18%.
And we'll see why. Maybe this is what I think why. They got copied. They didn't have anything that was specific to Snapchat to grow their network effect. They weren't the first person. Like Instagram is the first mover in that space of like photo sharing and stuff. They had a slightly different version of it where they automatically deleted, the chats automatically deleted. But Instagram just copied them. The features that made Snapchat its own like app was stories. And while it was only in Snapchat, they were massive. But once Instagram copied them and just added stories, all of a sudden everyone's already on Instagram. Everyone's friends are already on Instagram. So now you can just continue using the app you already used and not have to move everyone over to a new app. If someone didn't have it, they couldn't see your story. Now everything's in one place and people would just rather have that.
Why? Well, it's a bit of a complex issue. You might have
See what
picked
they
up on
say.
some hints I dropped earlier, but a problem Snapchat faced was poaching. They were innovative, sure, but unfortunately, that just meant they were a first mover, or rather, a first victim. Facebook and most other platforms have blatantly copied everything Snapchat did. Stories appeared on Instagram, then Facebook. Filters showed up soon as well. They even released their own copy of the disappearing snaps with Poke, although it was shut down in less than 2 years. Then they released another Snapchat clone, Slingshot, which also died in about a year. I suppose you can steal with no consequences as long as you're big and powerful enough. All of this hurt Snapchat's growth. Almost every competitive advantage eroded quickly, but it doesn't quite explain the lack of profit. They're making revenue and that's also growing, so why can't they make profit?
Where's
Snap
the
has
money
poured
going?
billions and billions into their most powerful competitive advantage, AR technology, and this goes further than just filters. They've recently revealed their own augmented reality glasses called Spectacles. They see this as a crucial part of the future and have even partnered with OpenAI to integrate AI tools for developers, but it hasn't exactly paid off yet. This isn't their first try at AR glasses. That was actually back in 2016, which resulted in a $40 million write-off of unsold inventory. They tried again in 2021, but also failed to gain sales.
So at some point, you just gotta say the market doesn't want this, right? If you launch these glasses the first time, they're a dud, they don't sell, you get rid of $40 million in inventory. The second time, you do the same thing, they don't sell. Like, people just don't want it. That's the end of the story. So you kind of have to adapt to that. You can't say, everyone else is wrong, I'm right. If both times the market said they don't want it, then they don't want it.
Evan Spiegel insists that AR camera technology is the right direction, but it's hard to say if he's right. Keep in mind, Meta has invested $63 billion into similar technology with underwhelming results. But Meta can afford these losses because of their absurd revenue and absurd profit. Snapchat can't, at least not yet. And I think there's a much bigger issue, a root problem at the heart of all of this, which I don't know if Snapchat can solve. Snapchat, like other social media apps, monetizes through advertising, yet this is a huge problem, exclusively for Snapchat. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit, and other social media apps all have
places to
one
place
thing in
ads.
common: great retention through feeds, lots and lots of user-generated content. Snapchat doesn't have this. To be clear, you can scroll on Snapchat, but it's extremely lackluster compared to competitors. The app is built for you to open, send a snap, maybe check some stories, and move on. Not a great environment to see a lot of ads. But what about their billions in revenue? Well, $5 billion in annual revenue is impressive, but not compared to other social media giants.
Oh yeah, 5 billion is not much. If you look at YouTube, TikTok, probably even Twitter at this point. Maybe not Twitter. Twitter was having a problem making money, but they might have more than Twitter. But that's what I was saying before. There's nowhere to put ads on Snapchat, so how they're making $5 billion is pretty impressive already. But yeah, people like YouTube, you put an ad, pre-roll, you put mid-rolls, you got post-rolls, you got ads, banner ads, you got I forget what they call them, like I think the pop-up ads. You got a bunch of places you can put ads. TikTok, you can put ads in the feed while you're scrolling. There's nowhere to do that on Snapchat because where people use the app, there's nowhere to put ads. They go into this app, open someone's snap to them, snap them back, maybe write a message or two, check some stories like they said, and then hop off. Like, where in there do you put an ad to serve them? There's just no room.
In that same year, Meta generated $164 billion, and unlike Snapchat,
Just a little bit
actually
more.
made a lot of profit. While Snapchat has hundreds of millions of users, their monetization of each user is quite poor due to low usage time and fewer opportunities to show ads. So what about the future? Is there any hope for Snapchat? Today, Snapchat is in a difficult position. It's been around 10 years. That might not sound like a problem. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and many more have existed for much longer. The problem comes with Snapchat's target market,
longer.
teenagers. Snapchat is falling out of favor with their target audience. The original group that adopted Snapchat, teenagers, have grown up. When they do, the features like streaks, live location, and timed messages aren't as appealing, as younger generations can find that in many places. Their users moved on.
You've said that. Clarify.
What are you, 13?
No, what? I'm not allowed to have streaks now.
Who still even uses Snapchat?
Everyone uses Snapchat.
Many users who signed up for Discord as teenagers still use Discord, same with Instagram, but the same cannot be said about Snapchat. New teenagers do jump on Snapchat, sure, but that brings us to another problem. Advertisers spend money to get customers. Pretty obvious, sure, but it means they want to show ads to people who can actually spend money.
This is a multitude of problems. I think I barely ever open Snap. Maybe open the app a couple of times a month, maybe to see if there's stories on there, people posting, but I don't really use Snapchat. I definitely use it way less than the 3 hours a month that they said that is on average for people. So big problem, obviously, retaining stuff. The ads, again, it's the same problem with like YouTube Kids, the kids channels on YouTube or this different stuff, where they can't monetize as well as someone in different sectors because kids don't have money to buy stuff. So if your user base is teens, they don't have a bunch of money to spend, and if you're advertising them, sure, it's great. Maybe they love what you're saying, but they can't buy it because they don't have money.
Teenagers essentially have a zero disposable income, which means a much lower average revenue per user or ARPU. You could say the same thing is true with TikTok, but teenagers spend over 10 times the time there. So even though their ARPU is lower, their overall revenue is much higher. TikTok is intruding on Snap's demographic. Online advertisers are spending less,
And
a
TikTok
move
ads
by
actually-
Apple to limit the
actually
data
do go
apps
insane,
can collect from
so-
iPhone users has been a gut punch to the business model. Snapchat essentially has low session times from users who have low buying power, but there might be some hope. In Q4 of 2024, Snapchat announced their second ever profitable quarter, $9 million in net income, which isn't all that impressive given that they had $1.5 billion in revenue in that same quarter, meaning
better
less
than
than
losing
a
money,
1%
though.
net margin, but it is technically in the green. The whole year was still a loss of 26 million, but Snapchat's profit margins are getting better.
So not
Every
great.
quarter since 2022, their margins have improved from negative 31% to negative 13%, and now it might finally be in the green. Part of it could be because of users and advertisers jumping to Snapchat during the fears of the TikTok ban, but there are other changes happening as well. Not too long ago, the platform added Snapchat Plus, a paid subscription. When it launched in late 2023, it had 5 million subscribers.
I don't know
But now it's up to 14 million.
what that even does.
In an environment with
What's
less
the
ad
point of this
revenue,
subscription?
this makes a huge difference to their bottom line. But Snapchat still has a long way to go in terms of proving real profitability, and only time will tell if they ever get there. But to be fair, things could be a lot worse. On the bright side, Snapchat has been able to show enough growth and bring in enough revenue to stay afloat and independent. The same cannot be said about BeReal, who was recently quietly sold off in the background after making zero revenue. Check out this video to learn more.
So Snapchat doing its thing. Do I think Snapchat is going to go bankrupt tomorrow or soon? No, I don't think that they're going to go away anytime soon. You know, they've been around for 10 years. They've, I guess, starting to make some money, but even then they've got money to burn if they have to for a little bit. How much longer can they do? That's the question, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere, go bankrupt anytime soon. Maybe longer period of time, because I don't think that they compete monetarily with TikTok, with Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. They just can't. Those platforms can monetize through ads way better than Snapchat can. That's why they launched their Snap Plus thing. And I honestly don't even know what the features are, because it just seems like a waste of money to me. But apparently there's people signing up for it. So I don't know. I don't know what they do to make money and flip it around, unless they just push ads into your, in between you watching someone snap. If someone snaps you something, they play you an ad before you open it or after you open it. I mean, maybe they could do that, but I think that would ruin user experience and might take people off the platform even more. But that's gonna do it for this video. As always, don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.